and welcome to a brand new episode here on 1950's Farm. So the combine is out. Yes, the wheat is finally ready, and as I said, we are out in the field with the combine, getting it done, which is always good. I hope you're doing well today. I just want to say, as we get this video underway, a massive thank you to everyone that has subscribed to the channel. We have now reached our 400 target for July, so that's absolutely brilliant. So we will now be doing a... That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. We will now be doing a new target. So let's see if we can get to 425 before July. That would be absolutely incredible. But yeah, just a quick massive thank you, because I do at the end of every video ask everyone to like and subscribe if they haven't already. So it's also important for me to be quick on the announcements when we do hit the target. So really appreciate it, and glad that people seem to be enjoying the content, with lots more to come. So yes, thank you very much. Anyway, back to today's video. As I say, we've got the combine out. We've been tipping the grain in the shed. It will be this winter when the dairy has some silos installed, so we don't have to keep tipping in the shed. Although this trailer is, to be fair, is not too bad at tipping in the shed. So it's not too bad, but we've been doing, as I say, we've been doing okay, but we've been tipping it in that main shed. I've also, off camera as well, done a few contracts. As I said, I would try and do the contracts off camera, just so the videos don't get clogged up with tons and tons of videos of me combining, and then tons of so. And I'm not going to be doing every contract. I've only just been doing local to the dairy farm. I've not been doing contracts all over the map sort of thing, because some of these fields on this map are absolutely enormous, and to be fair, I could earn a lot of money very quickly. Yes, it would take me a very long time to combine those fields that way, but the amount of money that I would get for doing it, would be a bit unrealistic. Whereas where we are, the fields around here, some around here are big. The fields to my left are obviously quite big. The field of wheat that we've got, the field of soybeans that we've got, is quite big. But the rest of the field, certainly up near our farm, are a lot smaller. So that they're the excuse me, they're the fields that I've been combining. So yeah, as I say, we've just sort of done a bit of that really with our little combine. We've been using our little combine, little sidebar combine, I think they call them, trail behind the tractor, and yes, as I say, it's been going very well. I have also as well baled the straw on those contracts. To be fair, didn't really make very much out of them, to be fair. So if I was to do any more contracts, and there are a couple more around us that have come up, but I won't be bothering to bale them, because as I say, that it really wasn't worth the effort of me going around baling. But still, I mean, it, I guess, was a little bit more money in the kitty, but we have got enough money now really, so the contracts will probably sort of slow down. For the first year or two, it was only harvest time when Harry would where he would help out at the farms. As I said before, a lot of the farms that started up with the government's money in 1950, which is when the incentive was first brought out, a lot of the farms took the land, but they didn't buy equipment, so they would have someone come in, and it was basically a retirement for them. Except I think that was probably the dream, if you like, but the reality was that, as I say, because the markets were so depleted, yes, the price of goods for a few years was quite high, so wheat had a very high value, because you can do so much with it. But as the sort of 50s progressed, and then getting towards the late 50s and the early 60s, the market is not just in America, but the world market, because the world has been on the, although I can't find any evidence, and I may be wrong, and I may stand corrected, but I can't find any evidence of any of the other governments doing this. I mean, in the UK, we had Dig for Victory during the war and for a while after the war, but as far as I can tell, that was more aimed at you growing enough food for yourself and your family, rather than actually sort of mass producing food for the world. And America, as far as I can tell, was really the only country that sort of set about that. And and I guess in a way, because America sort of did the incentives, yes, that did kind of overpopulate the whole market, but at the same time, and I've sort of read reports where it's been sort of criticised what the American government did at the time, and then other sort of reports where sort of other quarters have kind of praised what Harry S. Truman did, um, and it was largely America that would, sort of, in the end, inadvertently, not this was, not a malicious thing. The American president was, really trying to help the world by feeding the world, but the gluttony of produce that would go into the markets over sort of a 10-year period. Because as I said before, it wasn't just agriculture where the incentives were had. It was all industries. And eventually the crash would come because the market would be full, and that was when a lot of American farms that started up with the money also went bust, because in the end they had nowhere to sell their goods, and it was the first sort of type of recession that caused the dairy to start looking towards being self-sufficient, because I guess when you're big enough to be able to sort of take the hit for however long I haven't quite, in my research, I haven't quite got that far yet, but however long the recession and the depression sort of lasts for, the dairy was, one of very few farms that was able to kind of take the hit. Harry's farm, he'd got himself in a position where he was sort of helping other farms, and he also had his beef stock and stuff like that, so he was able to sort of supply local markets as well, and it really did stand them in good stead through those difficult years before sort of life returned back to some sort of normality, and the market was a steady market. I guess eventually it must have grown to a market that we kind of sort of see today, where it sort of fluctuates up and down, but there's a sort of, within it fluctuating up and down, there is a sort of steady constant about it, which is helpful, because firms know that, big businesses know, well, we've just got to ride this out, but in 5-10 years time, we should sort of be back at the levels we were at once, and it's, we need to push on then, ready for the next one, I guess. But so yeah, that was the kind of thing that was sort of going on. But we we need to, as I say, get this harvested, and then we've kind of got a bit of a break. Like I say, there is one or two more fields around here that have got contracts now come up on them, so combining contracts. So I will, as I say, I'll probably do those again off camera, but we'll have a little break then until the corn and the soybeans are ready. And then obviously, there'll be a video or so of me, sort of combining them and seeing that. So yeah. And once I get enough saved for my new computer and some software, and so I can sort of upgrade what I'm doing, because at the moment what I'm doing is sort of quite basic, compared to sort of other channels. But once I can get the the new computer and get, say, some software, then when it comes around to harvesting, certainly this field and the other dairy field that we've got, the soybean field, I will probably do them as live streams, so that everyone's able to sort of come in and chat and sort of get to know. I'm also looking, and I keep saying this, but honestly, it's just time at the minute. I've still got the problems with my son going on, although thankfully we seem to be on the sort of good side of things now. But I've still got all that going on, so it's just at the moment, time is just, it's a non-entity. I'm sort of kind of spending time with him in the day, coming home, recording sort of late into the night, into the early hours, going to sleep, and then sort of being with him again, and then and it's sort of kind of that on repeat at the moment. But as I say, once we get that sorted, once we get the new computer, then as I say, we'll get Discord sorted. We'll do live streaming. We'll get and we'll really get sort of up and going. But because as I've said before, I obviously don't work, because of ill health, and things like a computer and stuff like that, to me, are extortionately expensive. It's like someone that's fairly well off trying to buy a house. Is kind of the comparison that I can kind of, sort of think of. So it's going to take a little while for me to save, but I am sort of, trying my hardest to save and to get, where I want to be personally, so that I can then be a bit more where, the channel and the community kind of hopefully want me to be, and then we can all sort of start meeting up in live streams, and with the Discord as well, we can you can then chat to me through there as well, and do whatever. I mean, as I say, it will open up a whole new world, because my computer that I've got now, absolutely love it to bits. I mean, this computer has seen for 6 years, and it still loads up as quick as it did on day one. It still does everything, it just does not have the memory. And the big problem that I have is I'm not technically minded enough to be able to upgrade the memory, or even if you can upgrade the memory, or I mean, I've kind of sort of thought, well, maybe if I move my FS22 folder over to my SSD drive, that would free up a little bit of memory, because the FS22 folder and then the mod folder are quite big files, and I thought if I could move them both over to the SSD, because my SSD card is virtually empty. There's like literally a few Steam games on there, that's all there's on there. So to move them, all the big files, over to that would really help me out a lot. But anyway, it is what it is, and you just have to get on with it. But so they are the plans, as I say, that are for the future. And as I say, we and now we've hit 400. That means we're obviously, well, I think we're on 402 at the moment. So we're 98 from 500, which then means we're halfway to the 1,000. The magic 1,000 that as YouTubers, I guess, look for, I suppose. And then hopefully things will just keep progressing and keep going forwards. But anyway, I've gone on for far too long, and as I say, this combining needs doing, so we'll switch over to a little bit of music, and then I will see you towards the end when I come back in. Bye for now. And I'm back. So we are gradually getting through the field. It's taken a little while, but we're getting there. And to be fair, the yield is actually pretty fantastic. That shed is probably getting on for about half full now. I have been, as you just saw, I've been sort of backing into the heap, which you do, you know, like I would do if I was grain carting in real life. I would back as far into the heap as I can get. It's just on farming sim, the trailers ride the heap, whereas in when you're doing it for real, they won't ride the heap. They'll push in as far as they can go, and then they'll just stop. You just stop because you literally hit a wall of grain that is not movable. So it's, you know, it's a bit different, but so that's why I ride the heap, because it's essentially sort of me in sort of real life, just literally you just straighten the trailer up and then drive back. You know, sort of not as hard as you can, but with good pace to get back, you know, so that, because obviously when you're tipping on grain floors that have got the wind ducts built into them, you're having to push up with the forklift. And what you don't want to do when, I mean, with the first farm that I worked on, I was very often doing two jobs. I was very often pushing the grain heap up, and I was grain carting. We had two tractors and trailers, but only one tractor and trailer driver. So I would get back, I would do 4 loads, and then push the grain heap up. And you know, the reason why I wanted to go, you know, sort of as hard and far into the grain heap as I could was so as I didn't have a huge amount of pushing up to do, because obviously, you know, the one thing I couldn't let happen was letting the grain trailer be full and the combine stop. You know, that is when you're a sort of 2-man team, that is a no-no. It's unavoidable sometimes. Sometimes you can't help it, but it you know, it is a bit of a, you know, what am I doing? A bit of a sort of no-no. You know, you need to be getting round, and you need to be getting, you know, you're sort of, in my case, my 2 jobs done. Bit different when you're further away from the farm. When you're further away from the farm, then it's we either had 2 tractor drivers and each of us would just push up, you know, sort of when it needed doing, or what we would do is again 1 tractor driver, so I would just keep driving backwards and forwards from farm to field, and then we'd have usually a student or someone in the grain store with the pusher. Yeah, so as I say, it's that's the reason why I decided to do it that way. I apologise. I didn't realise I was talking there, and my game crashed. So I don't know why it crashed. It's happened a couple of times, but the few times, not today, but since I've been playing this save, it's happened a couple of times. It's always when I'm harvesting as well, so I don't know whether it's the combine or whether it's or what it is, but yeah, it's happened a few times. But what we'll do is we'll get this tank full, we'll put this next tank in the trailer, we'll get that tipped, and then we'll call it an end to the video. Thankfully, literally just before it crashed, I saved, and it saved me because I've been playing this game now for most of the day, and that would have been near enough all of this field lost if I hadn't have just saved it. So someone was looking out for me. Someone was looking out for me. So over the last few weeks or so to actually sort of give a little bit of background story to what I'm about to say, just so as it makes a bit more sense. Because I was going to be quite vague then, and that doesn't really help anyone. So, as you know, heart condition, blah blah blah, and one of the side effects to the heart condition is that it left me with severe anxieties, severe agoraphobia, couldn't go out, couldn't sort of do all of the normal stuff. I had a food phobia. So when we were kids, I shared a room with my little brother, and one night after we'd gone to bed, he was very, very poorly, and I won't say what he had for tea that night because I don't want to put no one off, but he was very poorly, and that's what it was, and it left me with this food phobia, this absolute terrible fear that if I ate certain types of food, then that was going to happen to me. So as I say, it left me with all of those things, and so from the age of about, well, when I left school, because I think I was in my last year of school when all of that kind of started to happen, and growing up in my early teens as well, I had some really bad experiences through what I thought was my best friend and his family, and as I say, it left me with a lot of problems. I was really, really messed up, and until about the age of 30 to 33, somewhere around there, and then a chain of events has changed my life completely. So basically what happened is I came home from work one night. I'd been ploughing that night, and the bloody corn's come through the door. I tried to tip it far enough away so that wouldn't happen. Darn it, we should have gone the other way now. Never mind. Yeah, so I came home from work that night, and me and my then girlfriend, she's my ex now, but she's the mum to my little boy, and we get on fine. There's no histrionics between us or anything like that. We get on fine and we get on well, and the last sort of few months and certainly the last few weeks with my little boy having so many problems, we've been getting on really well, and it's been really nice that we've showed a really united front, and I think, to be fair, that's helped my little boy. But anyway, so I get home from work. It's probably about 10:30, 10:45, somewhere around like that. And she's, I walk through the door, and she says to me, do you want anything to eat? And I'm sort of, I was quite hungry, and so I'm sitting on the settee, I'm having a sandwich. She sat next to me, chatting away, sort of while I was eating, and having a cup of tea and that. And as I was eating my sandwich, I started to feel not unwell, but this weird feeling came over me, and then a few seconds later, all hell broke loose, and my heart went into arrhythmia. Didn't know what was happening, sort of panic set in, as is natural. And what basically happened was that the next day I went to the GP, and he then sent me obviously to the hospital for some tests and whatever, and referred me back to my heart team in London, which I have my own sort of heart team at St Bart's, and referred me back to them. And I'd sort of called them as well, and they said, okay, don't panic too much, go to the GP, get some blood tests, get an ECG, get the basics, and get them to send it over to us, and then we'll decide what we want to do from there. Anyway, eventually, as expected, they called me in. Had to have a procedure, and to cure the arrhythmia, because obviously my heart is only essentially, I've got one chamber. The rest of the heart is dead. It doesn't work. It when you put an ECG thing on there, 3 of the 4 lines are flat. Just this one chamber that works. And that evening, well, a few things happened that day, and a young nurse came in, and she basically said, why do they treat you so differently to everyone else? And sort of tried to explain a little bit, but I don't know whether really I got through. Anyway, she came in at the end of her shift, and she sat with me for quite a long time, and we talked about anything and everything, and she told me things about herself that, if I'm honest, she probably hasn't even told most of her colleagues, and maybe even some of her family. I mean, some of the things that she told me was really personal, and sort of I was sort of talking freely about myself. Anyway, she gives me the number to this guy. I ring this guy, and after being rejected by him a couple of times, eventually he agrees to help me. He's basically a cognitive forensic psychologist, and he agrees to help. And he's basically, over the last sort of 8 years or so, I think it's about 8 or 9 years, he's transformed my life. I've gone from being able to do very little and go hardly anywhere. I mean, I could manage work, but then I was in my own space, I was in my own tractor, and as I've said before, although I haven't really gone into any real great detail, my tractor had to be very, very clean, because of my fears and everything, and he's changed my life. So what I was thinking was, would you guys be interested in, because I watch, like all of you, I watch, other YouTubers doing farming sim, and they do all these wonderful, sort of videos, and one thing I've always kind of felt that's missing is you never sort of really get to know the person behind the microphone. So a few things really. Firstly, would you like me, if I can figure it out? So if I can figure out how to do it, would you like me to be a faceless YouTuber, or have my face within the video somewhere in the bottom corner or somewhere like that? And secondly, would you be interested in me once a week doing a video that's probably about 45 minutes to an hour long, and I just kind of talk about me, my life, and my experiences, and everything that's kind of happened? I don't. The reason why I've sort of held back in asking this question is because I don't want it to sound vain. I don't want it to sound like me. I'm so important, because I'm not. I am the least important person that walks this planet. However, at the same time, like I say, with watching other YouTubers, it's kind of like, well, I'd quite like to get to know them. What makes them sort of be the person they are. And I was just kind of wondering if you guys would kind of like that. Sort of kind of, I didn't know whether to sort of just do it kind of sat down, in the living room, camera in front of me, and just sit and talk openly, about my life and my experiences and sort of everything that's gone on, or actually, or whether to maybe do something where I go out and go to a seaside and walk along the seaside, or I go to the farm where I worked and walk around some of the fields. I mean, quite a lot. The farm where I was based is on the marsh, which is at the end of Sutton Bridge, and it's the sort of the beginning of the North Sea. And on one side you had there's a bank. On one side of the bank, on the right hand side of the bank, is all of our fields. on the left hand side of the bank is sort of this peaty, boggy marshland, but twice a day gets flooded by the sea, and the sea comes right up inland. Not many people know that that actually happens, and if I can sort of figure out a bit of timing, then oh bugger, then I may be able to show you that while sort of walking around and sort of talking. So I don't know. I mean, like I say, this is not a kind of ego trip or or me thinking I'm self-important or anything like that. It isn't, because if you guys sort of don't, comment or anything like that in the comment section, whether you want to see something like that or not, I won't do it. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. It'll just be like a series that I'll just call, like, the man behind the microphone, or something silly like that. But something where you kind of get an opportunity to, as I say, get to know me, my life, sort of my experiences and stuff like that. I mean, the other thing I have thought about doing is starting a second channel and doing it on there, so that it doesn't really get mixed up with the farming, because you guys might just be like here for the farming sim videos, and you don't really give a brass monkeys about sort of anything beyond playing the game. So let me know, and like I say, if you kind of say sort of no, that's not what I want, that's fine, that's brilliant. Like, if you just let me know, and then I'd sort of know not to do it, and I may end up doing it on a second channel or whatever, or because I think some of the things that have happened, and some of the experiences that have happened, it'd be good to talk about, because my hope would be that someone else would be able to talk about similar things, from anxieties, depression, mental health, and all of the stigma that's attached to all of that, even today, in today's modern world, where we accept gays and transvestites and everything, but yet there's still this kind of stigmatism about a man having mental illness, and I think it's such a shame. And the guy that I talked to, he he has sort of said maybe it might be an idea for you to talk on your channel. It's a good platform for you to do it. I've done as well with sort of with his sort of help and influence, if you like. I've done evenings where I've talked on stage in sort of front of groups of people that have been suffering sort of similar things to myself, and it's been eye-opening, and like I say, it might just help someone else have a bit of courage to speak out, or to to actually think, oh, actually, I'm not that different, that there clearly is other people that are suffering what I'm suffering from. So I don't know, just so like I say, let me know, just like a yes or a no in the comment. You don't have to do any great details, just like a yes or a no, and then I literally just sort of kind of add all them up and see where we're at, sort of thing. But yeah, so I just thought it'd be like something a bit different, a different idea, and that's what I'm kind of across the channel looking to do. I'm looking to do different things, try and come up with new things, and what have you, and just keep it all interesting. But anyway, I have gone on for far too long in this video, and this video has probably gone on far too long, and if there is anyone still left listening after I've just bored you all to death, then thanks very much for listening to me. It's really great, No, I'm joking. So yeah, as I say, it's just a thought. But if you haven't done already, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And like I said at the beginning of the video, we have now reached the 400. Well, we've actually exceeded now the 400 target for the 1st of July, which is absolutely incredible. I can't, just can't believe that, the channel and myself are doing as well as what we are. So I'm really grateful. And all that's left for me to say is I've really enjoyed having your company with me on this episode, and I really hope you join me for the next one. Bye for now.